will track that. This is in an effort to go ahead and promote wellness among our employees. We will track that. It is a taxable benefit. It will be reported to the IRS on their W-2 as required, and the county will be required to reimburse the aquatic center because this is a special revenue fund that we run the aquatic center out of, and this is a general fund function that we are subsidizing.
That is strictly for the sheriff's office?
Yes, it's for the sheriff's office, and it's for the employees only. It does not include family members.
Okay.
So if they want to go in and lap swim, we're glad to have them do that. That's really great cardiovascular exercise. Then we, in Article 27, we added in $200 bonus each year for people who have certain certifications such as defensive tactics instructors, tasers instructors, blah, blah, blah. There's a list of them in the back, under the backup documentation under Article 27. There's a whole bunch of them listed, but they can only get $200 per year if they have the required certification and are required to use that certification to do some teaching. Then under Article 29, we talked about the extensive changes. The intermediate post and advanced post certifications are at $300,000 and $1,000 respectively. That's an annual bonus for them to try and achieve those. And they are only eligible for one, whichever is the one that is more advanced. Or alternately, they can get $600 annually for associate's degree, $1,500 annually for bachelor's degree, and $2,000 annually for a master's or higher. And then we changed the language, as we've discussed in public session, related to tuition reimbursement and trying to get the book reimbursement and bonus pay for coursework that is specific to their jobs as outlined in the agreement, to try and get better educated officers out in the field and to encourage that education process. And then in court appearances, we put some language in there that says if the trial's not called off within 12 hours of their scheduled appearance time, they'll get 2 hours of overtime pay because they are getting ready and planning to come in. Bilingual pay, there used to be you had to pass a translation test that's utilized by the court to certify court interpreters, and that was just changed to say that the test has to be approved by the county manager and or the sheriff. And then canine assignment, we went from $310 per month to $400 per month. Because that language was from 2009, so we upped that amount for them going ahead and doing the canine care off duty. And then the pay tables and signature blocks.
Thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions of Elizabeth? I will make one comment, and that's, I'm glad that all the members of this commission will not have to go through this bargaining position anymore, because it lasts till 2025, and thank you for that. We're done. But anyone else?
That's for now.
Well, that's 2025.
For a while, that's a big one, yeah.
Thank you for all your hard work and the committee that got this negotiation through. We're good with it. So right now, I would like to entertain a motion to approve this.
Let's ask the public, make sure they don't have any.
We don't have any public on here, but there's
public hearing. Yeah.
Okay. This is a public hearing, so anyone in the audience, on the phone first, who has a comment on what Elizabeth has just put forward on the agreement with the sheriff's office? Is there anybody, Mike? Anybody in the audience? Anybody? George? You got nothing to say? Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that being said, now I can ask for a motion?
Yes.
Now I'll ask for a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement. So moved. Motion by Ian.
Second.
Second by Lori. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Pass unanimous.
Good job.
So we will now go to page 4, and the next item up is department heads. Item C. We did Brett North already, so we'll go to item 2. Mike Weeble, County Manager. Item A is discussion for possible action to approve a job description and position for an executive administrative assistant to the county manager part-time and/or grant writer part-time and setting of pay. Mike?
Thank you. You have two job descriptions in front of you. One is for a part-time grant writer, and the reason why is grants are the hot ticket right now in this economy. And getting after grants to pay for themselves, for this position. Our current grant writer, I think, is here. Yeah. And she is so busy, she's bringing in millions of dollars to the county. And she helps on all aspects from the fire district to the county. And this only makes sense to extend that position out another half time to help support that role and continue to find these funding sources to support the county. And then the other side of that is an admin assistant for the county manager, which helps with scheduling, HR, a lot of those administrative functions that don't require the investigations and all the high-level stuff that you pay an HR manager for, the county manager to do. There's a lot of administrative filing, scheduling, organization, communication. That phone rings nonstop in my office, and I can't be in the office and also managing in the county at the same time, or holding meetings. As you all know, right now I'm just stacking meeting on top of meeting on top of meeting, Monday through Friday. So having an administrative assistant will help with the organization and communication with the public and the department heads, as well as turn around some of the administrative functions in a quicker and more accurate manner, probably. So I'm asking, and so it's half-time, so that basically, and there's two different grades, one's a 123, one's a 122. The management assistant would work probably Monday through Friday, 8 to noon, get the day going, line it out, figure out what's on tap for the day, and then they go over and do grant writing in the afternoon. So that's what this item is for. And let's see, is there anything else on that, Elizabeth? Am I missing?
Nope, the grant writer position is already approved, so we would just use that current job description. So what we need to get approved is the management assistant portion of the job description, and it would be a shared position between the finance director and the county manager.
We discussed this is already part of your budget for next year.
Yeah, I wanted to clear up, now this makes sense, because I heard some grumbling at some point that we had decided to hire an assistant county manager on top of having a county manager, and no, this is an administrative assistant, which is absolutely not just standard, but kind of essential for any executive to be effective at their job, rather than sitting around checking emails all day, answering phone calls, and doing all the stuff that really just clogs up the system. So having somebody who's really clearing that out and keeping the manager effective at what he's supposed to be doing to get the highest and best use of his time, this is like a no doubt to me. So.
Yeah, there was some fake news and misinformation that went out during the budget process. This was only supposed to be a part-time admin assistant position. I think it even starts around $19.50 or something an hour.
Something in there.
And
you know, this is on administrative assistant.
Yeah, exactly. So here's one thing to consider. We all appreciate Elizabeth's work, but Elizabeth also has a full staff that has been supporting her over the last several years to be successful. And she has to delegate, as an effective manager, almost a lot of those duties to her staff. A lot of those management duties that she was undertaking over the last several years is now falling on me. I'm a staff of one, right? And it's fine, I'm doing it, but we could be a lot more effective as a county if we had a little bit of help on the admin side.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Okay. So you're hiring one person
Yes.
to do two things.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new position, so we didn't think it'd be,
Yeah,
we wanted to see,
I just wanted to
Okay.
be sure that,
yeah,
because I felt like our present grant writer is more than busy.
exactly.
And so I didn't think that there was really enough time with to take on anything else.
This is a
So-
newly recruited position.
I
And the
just
next
wanted to
item
be
is
sure.
gonna cover that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and we discussed just doing a halftime and halftime and seeing if we can get by conservatively. So, I mean, we can reevaluate it next year or whatever the commission wants to do. And that would also help our current grant writer also, to deal with.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Think
there are a
so.
lot of opportunities out there right now that, you know, there's only so much that Tabitha can go ahead and effectively do. Because we don't just write the grants, we also manage the grants.
right.
So, you know, in coordinating with department heads, there's some support there, but for the most part, a lot of this stuff falls, the purchasing,
Well,
the contracting, all of that falls back to Tabitha to make sure,
Right, and tracking
yes.
what's new that comes out, because I know at one time I was sending a lot of stuff this way and that way from the stuff that I was getting. And now those things you guys are doing, and so that there's, you know, between that and emergency management, there's a lot. That's why I want clarification, just to be sure this is a new,
There's a lot of overlap. What we're finding, Elizabeth and I
Yeah.
are finding is there's a lot of overlap between our two offices.
yeah,
If you think about it, it's the county's grant. And the county manager is gonna be responsible ultimately for making sure there's compliance with some of that stuff, although it's also the finance director's job to make sure the fiscal side was being complied with. So there's some overlap there.
Can the two halftime people, and maybe I missed something, be combined into one job? Can we hire one full-time person to do halftime in your
that's,
position and halftime in the grant?
That's exactly what this is.
Well, one's a 123 and one's a 122.
Correct, they had two timesheets.
Okay, so you'll be responsible for that?
Yes, in fact, the DA's office had done that for years. He has,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just being clear, I just wanna make sure I understand it. Okay, that's fine, so, does anybody else have any question on this job description and everything for the executive assistant? Is that-
I'll move to approve if
Okay.
there's no further questions.
Okay, motion by Travis,
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Passed unanimous. Item B is discussion for possible action to begin recruitment and selection of an executive assistant to the county manager / grant writer to start immediately at the county manager's discretion after this selection.
Yeah, we can wait until July 1st to begin recruitment, but recruitment sometimes takes a while, and I think we have some breathing room in this year's budget we can spend. If it's the board's, if they can approve it, I'll start recruiting now, and maybe we can fill it mid-June. We are mid-June, so.
Yes.
With the availability of staffing that's out there, I think that's a real pie in the sky. I think to start someone July, you're gonna have to be recruiting about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, so, I don't see where it's gonna raise an issue, but I think we can cover it if needs be. I'd make the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Shane and a second by Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I think if you could find someone for Shane, he'd appreciate it too.
Yeah,
Well, probably I'm gonna be taking one from you.
I'll just take your discard pile.
Okay, that passed unanimous. Item C is discussion for possible action, the approval for the county manager to enter into a month-to-month agreement with the current finance director to provide mentoring and transition to the new finance director in the amount not to exceed $10,000 per month for a period not to exceed 5 months at the county manager's discretion, depending on need.
All right, thank you. So, just as a recap for the public and for the board, our current finance director's last day in office is June 28th-ish. Okay? We have our new finance director starting July 11th. We do have some staff as public comment brought up, there is some staff present that can do a lot of that training and familiarization, but there's also a lot of resources that Elizabeth can provide after her retirement. She's gonna check with hers and those sort of things. This is a not to exceed amount, so I can have some flexibility depending on the need. I can foresee the first few weeks being pretty heavy and then tapering off, maybe a couple days a week down to maybe a couple hours a month towards the end of this. I just need some flexibility so we're not in here every meeting talking about we need to do it for another week or two or for this amount.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, how, I'd like to know how this works, because I would like to shorten it down to 3 months rather than 5. But I also want to know what you think. I realize in the beginning, the intensity of use will be more, but after that, so does this cover day-to-day at first, couple times a week later on, or what? For a flat
So the-
amount of money?
Yeah, I will work out the details on the amount, I just need an amount capped so I know where I can go and what authority you're gonna give me to do this, because I don't know how to structure yet until we actually meet with the new finance director and find out what it's gonna take.
Okay, so, and she thought that she would be able to come on board when?
July 11th.
July 11th is when I'm planning on bringing.
Okay, I couldn't remember exactly. So, for me, I would like to have that be effective starting July 11th and then go for 3 months, is what my thoughts were. How,
Yeah, I
Or
don't,
anybody
no one
else
here
wants
cares to
to-
do it for 5 months, I just wanna make sure that
Yeah.
we have a, and I guess I can always come back and say we need a couple more months, but I wanted that. I don't know what the current staffing level, I'm trying to be frank, I don't know what the staffing level is gonna be in the finance office.
okay,
There could be some movement, there may not be any movement, and I hope there's not. But
okay,
I need to make sure that I have the county's finances protected and that we're compliant, period. So I'm just trying to have that protection in place should we need it. We may not need, it depends on what happens in the office, we may not need it hardly at all.
Perhaps we could do, a 2 or 3 months and have an option to extend in the event of, a need for that. I also would prefer to see, just like any other consultant, us go to maybe billing on an hourly basis based upon work done and rather than a flat rate.
Okay.
I think that's
We can do
more appropriate.
We can do 3 months, I can always come back if necessary, whatever the board wants to do.
I'm not uncomfortable with the 5 months. I think, I perceive that what Mike is seeing, that as this goes on, that this is going to be, the time's going to be reduced greatly. As far as having to come back and revisit it, we have a county manager, and I think it needs to be that we go the 5 months and we have our manager use the time wisely at his discretion, and I'm comfortable with the 5 months utilizing his discretion to use this time as expediently as possible.
see, and I felt like, because of her qualifications and her attitude when she was interviewed, I felt fully confident that it's not gonna take her any time at all. I know that Elizabeth jumped right in, and Elizabeth, I think that you probably had less qualifications at the time than what she does. No, you had more? Okay.
But let's not get into that, but what,
But anyhow, I just felt, I didn't feel like that was, I mean, I'm okay either way. But I would like to find a way, like Ian said, so far as nailing it down just a little bit more, instead of paying that amount of money for that amount of month timeframe.
well, the important part of it is, and I think we all need to realize, the finance office is the money. It's the most important office to me, or one of the most important offices in the county. This girl's coming in here, she knows nobody here, she was selected and that's fine. We need to give her every opportunity to learn that position, and if it takes 3 months, it takes 3 months, if it takes 3 weeks, whatever it takes, but we need to have that latitude. She's the new finance director, it has a very high profile job, and to bring her in and just put a limit on how much time she's got to get up to speed, there's NRSs that gotta be learned, and that's gonna, you could go forever and never learn all of that stuff.
And the
But it's
changes.
important that we set the dollar amount and not restrict her to say, you gotta know this by X amount of time.
Mr. Chairman, I had worded this, and it's not expected to be 10,000 or be 5 months. I
Doesn't
just was
matter.
looking for, so I didn't have to come back and ask
Okay.
for authority, it's just not to exceed those amounts at that time.
It's going, I mean, you may use it in the first month.
I was
But it's
taking
going
it
to be,
literal.
but it'll trail off as time goes on. And, I mean, we have a county manager, I just don't see, I see that it behooves us to pass this at the 5 months pass it to our capable county manager and trust that he's going to handle this properly.
I agree with Shane, and if we're not happy with the county manager, we find a new one, which I don't think we have to do, but that's the whole point of the
Lots of
position.
luck.
Be fantastic. Lock him up. I heard the public.
Lock him up, that's all right, that's right.
I said lots of luck.
Oh, lots
You
of
said
luck.
lock him up, and I
I
agree with
prefer
that.
lock him up, so.
The sooner the better.
Okay,
Being a
then,
tough stuff, Scott.
is there any other discussion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion by Travis,
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, passed unanimous. Item B is discussion for possible action, the approval of an increase to the aquatic center pay scale.
I was visiting with our aquatic manager, and it looked
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.